Starting from position 2, the reigning Porsche Cup national champion, John Smith, vastly experienced in many different types of cars, as is Peter Fitzgerald. On the inside of the second row, we're now racing in the Porsche Cup, and over on the inside, Smith got a good start. Nothing shabby about the way that Morgan started on the outside. They're going to go side by side through Hill Corner the first time, but Smith gets the upper hand. Let's see how they sort themselves out as they run through the gearbox up Mountain Straight the first time.
Be the most experienced driver in the field, I would suspect. John Smith has been in motorsport for many, many years and absolutely loves it. He's no stranger to Mount Panorama, and leading Jeff Morgan here on the opening lap up Mountain Straight.
Morgan, of course, two-time Porsche champion, and he won't like to sit in second best position there. He'll be very keen to find a way past Smithy.
Well, these fellows are aware of the national exposure they're getting today, and they go to numerous races around the country as part of the Porsche Cup. They race against each other on a regular basis, and they really do perform very well.
John Smith leading this event as they race across the top of the mountain the first time. And 3 different classes involved in the Porsche Cup, A, B and C, based exclusively on power to weight ratio. And these cars running controlled Dunlop tyres, which is exactly one of the reasons they produce such close racing. Smith keeping it nice and tidy, being hounded by Jeffrey Morgan in second spot.
Third there is Ed Aitken.
Now here we go down through the dipper, approach the dipper, in the dipper now. And certainly with all of that power being unleashed in a hurry, these fellows will want to make very certain they know precisely how much angle they've got on their steering wheels.
Fourth place man Peter Fitzgerald looking to make a move on Ed Aitken there. He lost a little bit of time at the start there, and just watch him as he goes down Conrod Straight.
Been a great driver, Peter Fitzgerald, for many, many years. So the drag down Conrod, having exited Tyre Power Forest Elbow. About 350 brake horsepower for these Class A cars. They weigh around 900 kilograms. And let's now see if Morgan can effect a passing maneuver on John Smith as they race through Caltech's chase for the first time. The way they've qualified, you did expect Alan Moffat, these 2 cars, to dominate proceedings, and it's working out that way.
Yes, only a half a second between the 2 of them, David, and that's showing its merits at the moment. They've jumped the gap on the third place man, who was another 0.3 of a second behind, but those 2 fellows in a race of their own. But I think you can expect the 2 leaders here at the moment to enlarge their gap over 8 laps.
Aitken still finding plenty of pressure from Peter Fitzgerald. At the end of the first racing lap, it's Smith, Morgan, Aitken and Fitzgerald in that order. A big field of cars, and always very popular with the race fans, Richard. Everyone likes to dream about owning exotic machinery like this and driving it at a venue like this.
Indeed, and they have similar series to this in other parts of the world as well. There's one in the UK that's worked on a similar basis with weight distribution, or weights being added to cars and whatnot in accordance with the horsepower that they produce. And there's actually a European series for them as well called the Super Cup that supports a lot of the Grand Prix.
Well, it's a good example of a manufacturer in the form of Porsche who were prepared to put money into a series that is essentially privateers and give them some merit, give them trips to the factories and get the great big jamboree days together. There's tremendous esprit de corps on a worldwide basis, and I think it's very, very clever, of course.
There's the battle for third and fourth, Aitken and Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald struggling to stay on terms with him. Having said that, now moves a little bit closer.
A lot of experience with 12-hour races behind him on this circuit, David, so he's not going to be concerned about how he places his car. He might start getting a little bit reckless. I won't say reckless, I should say a little bit more aggressive, but he's certainly hounding Aitken at the moment.
This series largely based on the now defunct German Touring Car Championship, which used to form one of the support classes to a lot of the Formula One Grand Prix.
And here we are on Conrod for the third and fourth place getters. Obviously no sign of the rest of the field, so you can see the quality end is definitely between these 4.
And there is the top 5 at this stage of proceedings in the Porsche Cup. Lap 3, John Smith, Jeffrey Morgan, Peter Fitzgerald, Ed Aitken and Greg Keane.
The CD Motor Show.
Trying hard, and he's doing it very well. He's using the same strategy as he did before, but this time was elected to slipstream John Smith up the mountain straight under Louisville Hill.
This is going to go right down to the wire. That shot showed you Ed Aitken further back in third. Now Morgan has a look, but John Smith has got covered. He's making that car as wide as possible. He's the leader. He can utilise whichever line he wishes. Now Morgan again has a look, and Smith closes the door firmly in his face.
Delicate part of the circuit. You gotta just get your gear selection before you get in the middle of that corner. Launch yourself up in another part of the steep part of the circuit. This gets a bit dicey when you have to change direction from one side to the other. And Morgan really very, very close here for the closeness of the walls. Just a little looky here coming through for the approach to Skyline. Traffic now and flashing lights from John Smith saying, "I'm coming." But I don't think there's enough room really for this guy to be polite in front. Down through the dipper. And safely through that traffic.
Well, what do you think, Alan, at this stage of proceedings? About 1.5 laps remaining. Can he come from behind and peg back the leader?
Both of them have been doing everything absolutely spot on, and I can't see John Smith making a mistake, and Jeff Morgan doesn't seem to just have enough to really get by him.
As we see the safety car now heading down to the end of the pits, the western end of this marvellous motor racing venue, focusing back up front again. They're going to see the last lap to go board this time round. Slower cars coming into play, again doing the right thing, the slower driver. That's Mike Tankard, another Victorian, Victorian representation here.
Smith tried to put that between the two of them, but I don't think it worked quite as well as he planned. And in fact, he lost a little time on the exit, but he still managed to keep it covered as they go around, completing another lap. And now heading on to their final one.
He's actually driving very defensively, and so he should. It's not his job to hand the lead to Jeff Morgan, but he is placing his car very, very astutely.
Oh, a little touch of paint.
Morgan not wanting to back off. He wasn't going to sacrifice one bit of RPM on the slingshot up the straight. Here's a view from, and he did it.
He's done it.
He really must have, whether that unsettled John Smith or what, or Jeff was just waiting for that. He obviously was very aggressive, took a bite out of John Smith's tail.
And now Smith's going to have to learn what it's like to follow a very wide 911, and he won't be happy about that, will he?
And here's one going to be in the wrong place at the right time.
Tim Hurst is hopefully going to get out of the way and do the right thing, and this is going to be a fantastic finish. Smith now has the chance to show you all whether he can come from behind, and he seems to be slowing now as Morgan races away.
I think Jeff Morgan may have surprised him a little bit. You get into a rhythm when you're at speed, and that might have been the best that John Smith could do, and certainly the manner in which Morgan went by on Mountain Straight was quite surprising.
Aitken is still third, a long way behind. These two now are on board with John Smith, bird's eye view of the challenge ahead of him.
Braking cautiously for the dipper. Even in the daylight, you can see plenty of taillight there on the back of that 911. Wonderful model, Richard. How many 911s have been sold? Probably.
Very close indeed there. Sorry, Alan, but I'm not so sure as he didn't give him a little tap there.
Yeah, maybe tit for tat, yeah. But he unsettled himself in the process, and Morgan's now got a fair gap. John's not as close as he needs to be to do any slipstreaming on Conrad. In fact, quite a considerable gap.
He lost time there, trying to poke it up on the inside, had the wrong line, squeezed himself of room, and not far now to go in this Porsche Cup event.
He's trying
coming
again.
out quickly now, isn't he?
He's trying again.
Morgan may have relaxed momentarily. Smith throwing everything at him, with just a couple of corners now left to run at Mount Panorama. You'd have to have your house on Smith, though. Last time I said that, I think I lost my house.
Careful here, he can't lock it up. He's got to stay on the inside, and he does there. Smith going to the ripple strips to try and get it, but checkered flag to Jeff Morgan.
Highly entertaining race, and Morgan would be delighted with that. He had to work for it. There may be a word or two exchanged between them when they get back to the pits. That little tap that led to the change in lead.
Yes, a little shake of the head there going as if I don't know where you came from, fellow, but that's not the way we do it in Bathurst.
And now taking a look at the top five in that Porsche event for you. Jeffrey Morgan, good drive. John Smith finishing as runner-up. Then Ed Aitken, Martin Wagg and Rodney Forbes coming home fifth in the 911.